Okay, so you know that feeling, right? Middle of the night, everything's dark, supposed to be quiet,
Uh-huh.
but inside your head, it's like, I don't know, rush hour, replaying every dumb thing you said, worrying about tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. The mental highlight reel of awkward moments or the endless what-if list, it's exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes your heart gets in on it too, just kind of thumping away.
It really does. But, the thing is, it's incredibly common. It feels isolating, like it's just you stuck in that loop. But so many people experience this.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Because if you've ever felt like your brain is running its own, like, 3 a.m. worry fest, you're definitely not alone.
Right.
And it's not some, personal flaw either. Get this, Psychology Today. They say something like 85% of what we actually worry about, it never happens.
85%. That's huge, isn't it? Just let that sink in for a second.
Seriously.
And there's an interesting way to think about this, maybe from an evolutionary angle. Our brains are basically wired to, well, keep us alive.
Sure, survival instinct.
Exactly. That's scanning for danger, replaying things to learn. It comes from way back, keeping us safe from actual physical threats like lions or whatever.
Right. But now, the lions are more like, that weird comment on a Zoom call, or just the massive pile of emails waiting for you.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Like that ancient alarm system is still switched on, but it's reacting to, well, modern anxieties instead of saber-toothed tigers. It's kind of misfiring.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. We want to look at some, proven ways to maybe quiet things down a bit.
Yeah, find some techniques to calm that mental chatter. Not necessarily silence it completely. That's probably impossible, maybe even undesirable.
Good point.
But just to get a bit more control, to step off that speeding treadmill of overthinking.
Okay, sounds good. So first technique, this one's maybe a little counterintuitive, comes from the Stoics, those old Greek and Roman guys.
Ah, the Stoics.
Ugh.
Masters of inner peace.
Right. They called it something like a Stoic fire drill. Or one source called it a worst-case detox, which I kind of like.
Okay, worst-case detox. So the idea isn't to suppress the fear, but what? Run towards it.
Sort of. It's about proactively facing it. The Stoics figured if you really think through the absolute worst thing that could happen,
it loses some of its power.
Exactly. You actually take the time, maybe even write it down. What is the absolute rock bottom worst outcome?
Okay, so let's use that example you mentioned, being anxious about a presentation.
Yeah. So worst case, you total bomb, stumble over words, forget everything.
Maybe get some tough questions, critical feedback.
Or even the ultimate fear, does this mistake cost you your job? You write it all down.
The next step is crucial.
Right.
You look at that scenario and ask yourself honestly, could I survive that?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for most everyday worries, the honest answer is probably,
yeah.
It would suck. It might be really hard, embarrassing even.
You'd figure it out. Life would go on.
Right. And remember that stat, 85% of worries don't happen anyway. So you're often dissecting something that's unlikely to begin with.
It's like shining a really bright light on those scary shapes in the corner.
And realizing they're just shadows.
Yeah.
Paper tigers, as that source put it.
Yeah, I like that. Exposing the paper tigers. It takes away that vague, looming dread.
It does. Fear thrives in the dark, in the unspoken. Bringing it out, looking at it closely, it often deflates it.
Okay, cool. So technique number 2. This one feels more immediate. It's about interrupting the spiral as it's happening.
Ah, the action-oriented approach.
Yeah, it's called the 5-second rebellion, popularized by Mel Robbins.
Okay, the 5-second rebellion. So you catch yourself starting to spin out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That moment you feel yourself getting sucked into the worry vortex.
You what, countdown?
Exactly.
Like
5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And you physically do something, anything really.
Anything,
Like jump out of bed, splash water on your face, do 5 push-ups, turn on music, just move. Break the physical state you're in.
So it's about creating a pattern interrupt, using physical action to short-circuit the mental loop.
Yeah. And the source is really stress, not waiting until you feel like it. Because when you're spiraling, you probably won't ever feel like it.
Right. The motivation doesn't just magically appear. You have to generate it with the action itself.
You just act in that instant. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move.
Okay, I can see how that sudden shift could definitely jolt you out of a thought pattern.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Technique 3 involves scheduling, which sounds a bit weird for worries.
Huh. giving your anxiety an appointment.
Basically, it goes by names like worry's curfew or the worry window.
Right, I've heard of this. The idea is containment, isn't it? Stop it from bleeding into your entire day.
Exactly. Harvard Health talks about it giving worries less power by limiting how much attention you throw at them.
So how does it work in practice? You actually, like, put it in your calendar.
You could. You pick a specific time slot, say 15 minutes every day, maybe 5 p.m. to 5:15 p.m.
Okay.
And that is your designated worry window. During that time, you can let rip, worry away, think about all the stuff.
Crucially, once that window closes.
Done. Curfew's over. You consciously postpone any further worrying until the next day's appointment.
Interesting. And there's research behind this.
Yeah, UC Berkeley found that this kind of structured worry time actually helps reduce how often those intrusive thoughts pop up overall.
So it's not about pretending the worries don't exist. It's more about saying, okay, I hear you, but we'll talk properly later. I'm busy right now.
Exactly. It's compartmentalizing, respecting your own time, your own mental space. You tell your brain, you get your 15 minutes, then we're moving on.
And maybe by the time the worry window actually rolls around, some of those worries might feel a bit less intense anyway.
That's the hope, right? Or at least you feel more in control because you decided when to engage with them.
Yeah, it flips the script from feeling ambushed by worries to managing them. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, technique 4 brings us back to basics, something we literally always have with us.
The breath.
Yep. Breathe like you're saving a life. Yours. It's all about using the breath to ground yourself.
Such a fundamental tool. When you're lost in thought, the breath is always right here in the present moment. An anchor.
Totally. And there's a specific technique mentioned a lot, the 4-7-8 breath.
Okay, walk us through that. 4-7-8.
Simple, but powerful. You breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4 seconds.
Okay, in for 4.
Then you hold that breath gently for a count of 7 seconds.
Hold for 7. Got it.
And then you exhale completely through your mouth, making a little whoosh sound for a count of 8 seconds.
Out for 8. So inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8, and repeat.
Repeat it a few times, yeah. Focusing just on the counting and the sensation of breathing.
And there's real science to this, isn't there? It's not just relaxing. It actually changes brain activity.
Apparently so. One source mentioned the National Center for Biotechnology information, saying that rhythmic breathing like this can calm down the amygdala.
The brain's fear center.
Yeah.
It can reduce its activity, potentially by quite a bit, like 30%. It directly signals to your nervous system, okay, you can relax now.
Wow, 30%. That's significant.
It really is. And also ties into this idea of sensory grounding, just shifting your focus to any physical sensation. The breath is an easy one, but it could be the feeling of your feet on the floor, the texture of your clothes.
Anything to pull you out of the swirling thoughts and back into your actual physical body in the present moment.
Exactly. It's like hitting a physiological reset button.
Okay, final core technique. This one feels a bit more philosophical, maybe. The maybe revolution.
Or the paradox of acceptance.
Yeah.
This is about shifting your whole relationship with your thoughts.
Moving away from needing certainty, right? And that fear of what might happen.
Towards something more like curiosity, acceptance. The Zen idea of maybe is mentioned, seeing it as a bridge.
So instead of, oh no, what if X happens and it's terrible? It's more like,
maybe X will happen, maybe it won't. Let's just see. Acknowledging the possibility without letting it completely derail you. Loosening that white-knuckle grip on trying to control everything.
That feels lighter somehow.
It does. And it connects to this paradox of acceptance. There's this concept from Japanese practice, mushin mind without mind.
Mind without mind.
Kind of like letting thoughts flow through without grabbing onto them. Because trying too hard to fight or suppress thoughts, it often backfires.
Right. Dr. Judson Brewer's research was mentioned how trying to control thoughts can actually activate craving circuits, making you want to think them more.
Exactly. It's paradoxical. The more you try not to think about the pink elephant, the more you see pink elephants.
True. So what's the alternative? Just watch the thoughts go by.
Pretty much. Observe them without judgment, like clouds passing in the sky. You notice them, acknowledge them. There's that worry thought again. But you don't have to climb aboard and fly away with it.
This is a thought. It is not me. That kind of distance.
Precisely. Creating a little space between you, the observer, and the thought itself. And this is really where mindfulness meditation comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, seems like the ultimate training ground for this.
Definitely. Practicing just sitting and noticing where your mind goes, gently bringing it back without beating yourself up. It builds that muscle, reduces rumination, anchors you in the now, Lots of research, platforms like Headspace, they all point to its benefits for quieting that mental noise.
Okay, so those are the big five, but there are a couple of other helpful tools mentioned too, right? Like journaling.
Oh yeah, journaling or expressive writing. Super useful.
Is it just about venting, getting it all out, or is there more to it?
Well, venting can help, sure.
Mm.
The sources like Happify and Science Direct suggest that digging a bit deeper, exploring the emotions behind the worries, trying to understand them, that's where the real power lies. It helps process things, untangle the knots.
Makes sense. Decluttering the mind onto paper.
Exactly. And another big one, physical activity. You mentioned feeling better after moving.
Always. A walk, a workout.
Mm.
It just seems to reset things.
Absolutely. It's not just a distraction, though it is a good one. Exercise releases endorphins, natural mood boosters.
Right.
Plus, research shows it lowers stress hormones like cortisol. That Yale study was interesting. Just 10 minutes of mindful movement cut cortisol by about 20%.
Wow, only 10 minutes.
Yeah. It burns off that restless energy that often fuels anxiety and shifts focus from your head to your body.
Good stuff. And the last one mentioned was cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Right, CBT. It's a major therapeutic approach, and it offers tools like thought stopping.
Thought stopping. Sounds abrupt.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
The idea is you catch a negative thought spiral starting and you consciously interrupt it. Maybe yell stop in your head or picture a big red stop sign.
And then you can't just leave a void.
No, then you immediately redirect your attention. Focus on something positive or neutral or on your breathing. It takes practice, but it's about actively retraining those habitual negative pathways.
Okay, so lots of tools in the toolbox then. As we wrap this up, what's the main thing you want people to take away from all this?
I think fundamentally it's that your thoughts, they feel real, they feel urgent, but they're just suggestions. They aren't orders.
Suggestions, not orders. I like that.
You actually have the power to choose which ones you listen to, which ones you engage with, and which ones you just let drift by.
It reminds me of that Stoic quote, the Marcus Aurelius one. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Recognizing where your control actually lies.
Exactly. And finding peace isn't about achieving some magical worry-free state forever. It's more about building the courage, the resilience to just be with uncertainty, to acknowledge the thoughts without letting them run the show.
That image we heard, your mind is a garden, not a battlefield, that really stuck with me.
Yeah, it's a great reframe. Instead of fighting, you're cultivating, choosing what to water, what to tend to.
So maybe a question for you listening is, what's the thought weed, the ghost as one source called it, that you're ready to stop watering, that you're ready to gently let go of?
And remember that Rumi line, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop.
Ah, beautiful.
It speaks to that vastness within you. You're bigger than these thoughts. You don't have to be trapped by them.
So final thought then.
Just this. Storms don't last forever. Even the really intense mental ones. These patterns can feel overwhelming, but they are changeable. Calmer seas are always possible.
Thanks for tuning into the Intraspective. We hope this episode gave you something to think about, or maybe even helped you feel a little less alone. We would love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? What topics should we explore next? Drop us a comment, send a message, or just reflect quietly, whatever suits your style. And if you found this episode meaningful, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need it. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep going inward. You have been listening to The Intraspective.